When you were playing that record, what were you thinking?
Welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play the bass line for Obvious Guy by Alfie Templeman. Now, to do this, I'm going to break it down into individual parts, walk you through each one of them, and then bring them all back together for the full song at the end. If you need to go back throughout the video to refocus on certain parts, or if you're returning to look at one particular bit to make sure you're playing it properly, I'm leaving timestamps down in the description to help you navigate through the video. So, for all you taking it from the start, let's get tuned up and take a look at the first section.
Nice.
So now that you're all tuned up, I'm going to take you through the root notes for each of the parts that we're going to go through. So part 1 starts on the F sharp, part 2 moves up to the B, part 3 is on E, part 4 is on A, part 5 is on D, part 6 goes back to the B, part 7 goes from the E to the C sharp. So the root notes for each of the parts are really good to know, because if you ever feel lost during a playthrough, you can just default back to the root note and help yourself get right back on track. So let's start with the first part. You're going to go from the F sharp, up an octave, play it again, down to the E, back up to the F sharp, down to the E again, and then go from the C sharp chromatically down to the B. So played slowly, that's so you're not hanging round on the C for too long as you go back down. And we're going to take a similar structure to the first part over to the second part, which starts on the B, goes up the octave, down to the A, back to the B, and then back down to the A, and then to the F sharp. So it's so you're not doing the chromatic down to the E in this case, as that would be. You're just sticking to that F sharp note. So, one after the other, parts 1 and 2 should sound like this. So that's so moving on to the third part, you're only going to need 2 notes for this bit, and that's the E and the D. But the main note is the E, because this is a more rhythmically focused section. So what you're going to play is so you're only going down onto that D note very briefly, before moving on to part 4, which starts on the A, goes up to the octave, down 1 note to the G sharp, and the E. So what you're doing is you're playing that A octave twice, before moving down to the G, back up to the A, down to the G again, before moving down the string onto the E. And it's useful if you use that as a pull-off. so that you can get your finger ready to play that E note. So you're hammering on and pulling off. So one after the other, parts 3 and 4 should sound like this. So part 5 starts on that D note again, before very briefly moving down to the C sharp, and then doing a chromatic run from the A to the B. Now I like to do the D note on the open string so that I can have my hand ready, going from that C sharp, laying into the open with the A string, and then moving up with my first and second finger, rather than starting off on the 5th fret and having to readjust my hand. It keeps it a bit simpler for me, and it means that I don't have to move around this box position that I've got going on here. So with the rhythm put in place, the part goes. So it's a very quick movement from the D to the C sharp. So really take the time to slow down that very quick movement and make sure that you get it properly nailed. So after part 5, we're actually reusing a part that we used earlier. So part 6 is just part 2 again. So after you've done the previous movement, you're just working back in the before moving on to part 7, starting on the E, before running from the D back up, and then going from the C sharp from the B. So that's so parts 5, 6 and 7 put together should sound like this. Now that section is slightly longer, so make sure you take the time to look at it and get everything in place one after the other smoothly. So those are all the parts that you need to know for the song. The hard part is making sure that you're playing it consistently throughout the whole runtime. So go back, practice them in their 2 to 3 part sections until you can play it fluidly and consistently. If you need to slow it down, that's perfectly fine. Really focus on getting everything in time and fluid between the parts so it doesn't sound like you're just playing separate parts back to back. So if you're feeling comfortable, let's start trying to play the whole section all the way through but slowed down, and then we'll speed it up to full speed. So with all the parts put together, played at 3/4 speed, it should sound like this. And then played at full speed, it should sound like this. Okay, so if you're at this part of the video, you feel comfortable on playing the whole section all the way through, even if it's just once, relaxing, and then starting it up again. So I want to take the time to talk to you about something that comes up a lot on this channel, and that is ghost notes. When Alfie first recorded this track, he played it with a pick, whereas I play with my fingers. And so the way that we accentuate the different notes and add ghosts in are kind of different. So what I recommend you do is look at either playing it with a pick or with your fingers, however you like to play, and experiment with adding in notes, either reflecting what I do in the full playthrough, or start thinking about how you would like to add the different notes in for yourself. However, if you don't feel comfortable adding ghost notes yet, just get used to the song. Play it through as many times as you need to get to the point where you feel comfortable enough to start adding in some extra details. So now that we've looked at the individual sections, we've put them all together, played them through at different speeds so you fully understand it, and spoken about ghost notes, it's time to play it all the way through. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you need to go back to any points, there will be timestamps for you, and please make sure you take your time. If you feel like you're getting aggravated because you're able to play it through a few times but not get it consistent enough, take a step, walk away, get some water, and come back to it. You'll feel way better trying to learn this with a clearer head. But with all that out of the way, this next part is playing the whole song through with the backing track. Now there'll be a click to help you keep extra time at the beginning, but when the drums come in, I will cut the click out. If you feel like you need a click to play along with it, the tempo for this track is 116 BPM. So good luck playing it all the way through. Feel free to send me any videos of you playing this to my Twitter, I'd love to see your progress. But for now, that's everything from me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.